Hi everyone, this is the continuation of the Benin, Africa trip. As I stated in my last video, I have not too long returned from a trip to Benin, and I kind of wanted to do some videos to tell of what happened, tell of my experience, because so many people have been asking, but I do not feel that I have given any justice to what took place there. So for those of you who are interested, I'm going to do some videos of just key things that stick out to me, and probably, well, in answering some questions that I have been asked. In this video in particularly, we're going to start with a question that I was asked when I got back, which was I disappointed at all with this trip or with the Osborne ministry? As I said in the last video, the Osborne ministry is a ministry that I have been enthralled with, very impressed by, very impacted by for quite some time. But sometimes the ministry that we see on the platform is not the ministry that we see in closed, intimate settings. And I can honestly say that that was not the experience that I got. The ministry that I have experienced on the platform and, through these years is the same ministry that I saw in those private, intimate settings. And we spent a great deal of time together over 2.5 weeks. But I was not at all disappointed. And that was one of the things that I can honestly say that impacted me the most, was the integrity that I saw day in and day out from wherever we were between the ministers of the Osborne ministry. In the International Gospel Center, there was a group of 5 of us that went, including me. There was Bishop LaDonna Osborne, her husband Corey Nicholson, Reverend Jennifer Yeager. Sorry, Jennifer, I forgot your name. I'm supposed to call you Christina. Don't ask where that came from. Jennifer Yeager and Kim Oakley. There we go. We got all of them there. I was trying to remember last names. So there was 5 of us all there. The other 4 being from the International Gospel Center, myself being from the Covenant Cathedral. But to see all 4 of them, again, in an intimate setting, not 2 of them, well, 2.5. I'm not going to say Corey didn't know who I was, but really didn't know who I was. 2 of them having no clue who I was before I went. Not necessarily any reason to impress me or anything, but I was left very impressed by the level of integrity, the manner of which they carried themselves, the manner of which they worked together the entire time. And I wasn't the only one impacted by that. But the hotel staff, I mean, it was impactful on every. We went in 2 stories. We went into a restaurant. It was the funniest thing. We went into a restaurant, and some ladies had heard about who was coming to or who Bishop LaDonna was. And so when we came in, they rushed her back. When we come into the restaurant, and all of a sudden she's going through the kitchen, and she's behind all of these things. We're thinking, where are we going? They took her back to the kitchen, which was not necessarily attached to the hotel. And there was this kitchen full of women, and they were just raving about the Festival of Miracles and all that got it done. And they were Christians, and they wanted her to pray and bless the restaurant and bless them. And so there we were in the kitchen of this restaurant behind these huts and somewhere, I can't even tell you how we got that there. But there we are in the kitchen praying and ministering for the women in the kitchen. And so, again, ministry, and this was not just because this was some small, African country or anything. Your ministry is gonna spread. What happens in your ministry will spread, and that's your greatest testimony, is what you do, not on the platform but behind closed doors. And the other story was, and just again proof of this, is that the hotel staff. Now you have to know, for 2.5 weeks we have been dealing with the hotel staff. We've dealt with the hotel staff in the restaurant, with the laundry crew, with the housekeepers, with the front desk crew, security, whoever was there. We're dealing with them day in and day out. It's easy to say, I'm tired, you let your guard down, and all of a sudden you've offended, you've insulted, you have tarnished the integrity of yourself to someone like the hotel staff. And you may think that's not a big deal, but it really is a big deal, because you're ministering to them just like you're ministering to everyone else. But the testimony as far as the hotel staff is that when we got ready to leave, somehow, I'm not really sure how it was communicated, but some way, whether directly or indirectly, it was communicated to Bishop that the hotel staff wanted her to pray over them and to bless them before we left. And so we were going to meet with them before we left, the morning that we left, but we were leaving extremely early, like 5 o'clock in the morning. And so at last minute, we changed it to when we got back from the Festival of Miracles, which was somewhere around 10 o'clock. And most of the staff, it was a Friday night, most of the staff had gone, you know. Laundry and housekeeping and all that had gone. It was really just the restaurant staff and front desk. But within minutes of changing that, they were back at the hotel because they desperately wanted to be prayed over by Bishop LaDonna Osborne. And you may say it's just the name, but I promise you it's not just the name. Because had it been just the name and, you know, she or one of us, any of us had cursed out the hotel staff and nasty to them, had we have done anything to tarnish the name that was going before them, they would have not been interested. I promise you they would have not. And the testimony of that is that I have worked at a hotel before. My sophomore and senior year of college, I worked at a hotel. And I was able to experience ministry because lots of churches, you know, they have their guests to come in or they had them come into our hotels. And so I was able to witness them when their guard was down and when they didn't think anybody was looking, when they didn't think anybody knew who they were. I was able to see these ministers who sometimes were worse than other guests. And it somewhat put us, and you know, most of these ministries were not people that I necessarily knew or would be in their service or whatever here, you know, on their platform. But their time to minister to me came when I said, hello, thank you for calling Hawthorne Suites. So when, you know, they were nasty with me then, when they were rude to me then, when they were, you know, breaking hotel policies then, that was their one and only chance to minister to me. And for a lot, you know, I'm not going to say a lot. Let me rephrase it. I'm not going to say a lot. For some of them, the ministry that took place on the platform was not the ministry that I experienced. And so I'm saying all of this to say that this part of my video just speaks of the Osborne ministry and the fact that even behind closed settings, you know, for 2.5 weeks, not only am I with Bishop LaDonna and with members from the church, but I am with her and her husband. And to see them interact was an amazing thing to witness. You know, there was integrity in that, and the way that they communicated with each other, the way they respected each other, the way they spoke to each other. There was, you know, they took care of each other. There was a witness in that. I was, you know, witnessing this ministry behind closed doors impacted me as much as it did on the platform. And so my little snippet for this video is simply to know that, especially in ministry, that your ministry does not stop when you come off of the platform. So guard your mouth, guard your, and I understand, I definitely understand that we are human. But the issue is that if you are two different people, there's some bigger issues that need to be dealt with. It's not even about being human, but there are some issues that need to be dealt with. If you are, because I've heard, this part I've not witnessed, but you know, if you are, you know, preaching in the pulpit that, you know, you need to be delivered from all addiction, but you have an addiction to cigarettes or alcohol or whatever, you need to deal with that. That's not a flesh issue, because then you saying, you know, I'm human becomes a clutch. I understand you're human. I understand you're going to make mistakes. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying, because we're not perfect. We are made perfect in Him. We understand that. These are, you know, simple truths. But what I am saying is your ministry does not stop when you get off of the platform. Make note of that. If you don't understand anything else I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, is that don't limit your ministry to the platform. Don't limit your ministry to the words that you say, and, you know, in your books, on your tapes. It's in everything that you do. And either you believe what you say you believe or you don't. So if you can't live it, don't preach it. Okay? So that's the end of this video. Stay tuned for more. Okay?